years we help people out, and also there really isn't any new questions in Archeage, considering just how ridiculously complex this game is. So if you're ever lost on something, don't worry, other people have been lost in that thing as well. And to put something in perspective here, and not meaning this is going to help you as well if you don't know it already, but for 7 years people have played Archeage, and I'd say about 95% of this population had no idea that if you attack someone and do damage to someone who is on a lower height than you, like if I'm hitting someone with range who's down there, you actually do bonus damage, just based on the actual absolute value difference of the height. And the bonus damage is quite a bit. In fact, it's linear. So the higher up you are, the more damage you do. It's a linear progression. It's not exponential, it doesn't curve off, it's just linear. The higher you are, the more damage you do. So for 7 years, this game has been out, and even the Koreans were baffled when we figured this out and put it out on Reddit. And the Koreans started being like, how the hell did we not know this for 7 years? That's impossible. And yet, it's true. In their region, they tested it, it's the exact same thing. Russia tested it, same thing. This has been around apparently forever. But the point is, this game is so complicated that we missed the most obvious thing in the universe. It's literally been under our nose the entire time. It's just we never understood it. We never thought about it. No one has ever actually tested it. And that is crazy, but it also shows the potential of Archeage and how much we actually do not know about this game. And a lot of people made fun of that and said, you know, the devs don't know that either, probably, because they've probably been rotated so many times, the devs don't even know that's in the game. It's probably true, actually. I wouldn't be surprised. Probably the only person who remembers that being a thing is Jake Song, who's, like, probably giggling under his breath, they didn't know this whole time that the Halsey Hill was that powerful. But the truth is that now we know, and hopefully that encourages people to start to try to learn more stuff and try to identify more mechanics that people don't know. Because that stuff is really cool, and the fact that Archeage is that complicated that we don't even understand something for 7 years is probably the most unique thing in the universe. And I'll be honest, you know, me and Aduka, who had originally brought this up in the Research and Development Discord, and then everybody else who helped test it, the fact that we were able to bring this to the board and say, hey, this is a thing, for an MMO that's 7 years old, that most people had no idea about, is actually a really good feeling. It's a really good feeling to be like, yep, we discovered something new in an MMO that's been out for 7 years. It's a good feeling, actually. And so hopefully it encourages more people to start exploring mechanics and understanding things. Because there's so much out there that people just don't know. And it starts with people asking questions and trying to learn and trying to figure things out. And now that people know that height does give a damage bonus, and it's like the easiest test in the world, anybody can do it with anybody else. You don't even need anybody else. You can just go up to any target dummy and jump, or go up a staircase or something. But anyways, the fact that people know this now means that people are gonna, hopefully... Sorry, I actually need water, but it's not even next to me, so give me a sec. Anyways, the fact that people know this means that hopefully people will actually start thinking about positioning even more, right? Positioning has always been really important in Archeage. Where you are versus where your opponent is a big deal, because especially for archers, it might make a difference in your damage, or it might make a difference in what can hit you versus what can't hit you. And now, it also makes a difference in how much damage you actually do to somebody. And especially in the water, if you're extremely up higher than somebody else who's much deeper in the water, you are just going to just do so much damage to them from above, whereas they just do the regular damage to you because they're hitting you from below. So, some really cool things in Archeage. I hope that this all helps kind of encourage people to learn more and try new things. And that's why I love the game so much, honestly. Because the mechanics are just so invisible and are really, really hard to identify. Alright, cool. Good speech. Never know these things. There's a lot of things... I don't even know where to begin. I wish we had a wiki, because if we had an actual wiki, we could go to it, like an official wiki, and post all the things, and people can learn about it all, and actually feel really good about themselves in the game, and start to try to think about them, right, and try to understand more. We don't really have any official wiki. I don't want to post on some random wiki that's not going to matter, that nobody even uses anyways because it's so out of date. I want to post on an official wiki because we know it's in date, or at least is actively being, you know, thought about, and it's actually active from in-game, that isn't just broken. That's what I want. And then I can just lob all this, you know, all this crap up there, and people can learn on their own and figure things out and try to learn more and discover more. But yeah, it's true. Most people still don't know these things, and one Reddit post isn't going to solve anything. Yes, I made YouTube videos. Those YouTube videos are not going to be found if someone is not searching height damage Archeage. You know, if someone in YouTube is not searching height damage Archeage, they're not going to find it. So unless you know what you're looking for on YouTube, you're not even going to know about its existence. My point is, these are really cool things that because I put out a Reddit post and because I made a YouTube video about it, right now people know about it. But already you start seeing people have, you know, the Reddit post is long gone, right? The Reddit post is, it's 2 months old. It's way low. It's too low. Nobody sees it anymore. And so it's already kind of, you know, people are not getting this information again. And there needs to be a centralized source where we can say, yes, this is a thing. And Excel isn't putting it on their wiki, so we better put it on one, you know? We better put it somewhere. Some collection of all the different mechanics. I'll give you guys another one. I talk about this one on the stream a lot because it's a really cool one a lot of people don't know, and I've never actually put it out on like a YouTube or Reddit thing. But another mechanic people don't know about is, so if you're hitting people with Hellspear, and Hellspear has a maximum of 8 targets, but there's 9 targets to hit, which 8 targets get hit? Right? This is kind of a big deal actually in big raid versus raid stuff, but the answer to the question isn't distance. The answer to the question has nothing to do with that. It is whoever loaded into your game client first. So if on your screen there are 9 people around you and you use Hellspear, the first 8 people in that Hellspear radius who were loaded into your game client first will be the targets actually hit by it. And that's a big deal because it means that healers or people who need to not die can run into a battle late. And if they're hugging other targets and hugging people in a clump of their allies, there's a less chance of them getting hit by some CCs that have a limited amount of people that those CCs would hit. But on top of that, let's also give another thing away that people generally don't know. But if you have an ability that hits more than 8 targets, and it's specifically 8, if you have any ability that hits more than 8 targets, for example, Whirlwind Slash, God's Whip, Meteor Strike. These are all abilities that hit more than 8 targets. In fact, I believe they actually do have a cap of 20. So they'll only hit up to 20 targets. However, if you have any ability that does hit over 8 targets, the moment it hits over 8 targets, the moment there's a 9th person in there, every single person that gets hit by it will take 50% less damage. And it's actually more like 46 or something. They'll take significantly less damage. So if you've ever used a meteor on a single target and it just kills them, but you've noticed that when you try to meteor a target of like 20 people clumped together and nobody dies, this is why. Because the game is literally saying, oh, this calculation is done on more than 8 people, let's significantly lower the damage value of it. And this is also why having pets and mounts out at all times in Raid vs. Raid is really, really good, because having those pets and mounts become extra targets and soak up Hellspear shots, or soak up the CC, or soak up the damage, is really, really important. And people don't really value that, right? In Halsey, people forget to take out their pets and their mounts, but it is actually quite a bit of a difference. Don't despawn your mount when you're in battle, unless you really only have 1 or 2 mounts. Then okay, maybe you don't want that mount to die. But my point is that generally, you want to keep these things out because they help soak up damage, they help soak up crowd control, they help make it so that your team takes less damage in giant clumps, and they're actually really good, right? So, I mean, like my point with all this is that, again, most people don't know these things, right? Because there's no accessible source for it unless you go and you test it yourself, and these are not easy tests. The height difference one is an easy test, and people still couldn't figure that out for 7 years. Myself included, right, until recently. So how people are going to figure out this other stuff that I was just talking about is just, it's not going to happen, right? So to have some kind of a centralized wiki would be really nice, and I've been pushing for that out lately, and I hope it happens, but, we'll see.